This week on Auto Mundial, there's a conceptual feel to the programme as we look at what could be the shape of Chrysler to come. Volkswagen have been around for as long as anyone can remember. Therefore, we take a trip down memory lane. So let's start the ball rolling with Dodge. The very name conjures up a stars and stripes tinged image of tough, chunky looking vehicles, a category the Razor slips, or should I say powers, into. Chrome bumpers, classic door handles and mirrors are a few of the Razor's gimmicks. No power windows, no power mirrors, no radio. What you get is what you need. There's an integrated tachometer speedometer which gives you an analog rev reading and a digital speed reading. Confused? You won't be, as simplicity is the key as you sit inside the Razor's lightweight competition-style seat with its 4-point racing harness. And there's plenty of storage space behind those seats where you can keep that backup vehicle, should you forget to keep an eye on the fuel gauge. However, that should never happen, as, along with the temperature, oil and battery gauges, they're all very easy to read. But it's the engine that's arguably the real beauty. The Razor can achieve 60 miles per hour in just over 5 seconds. It reaches top speed of 140 miles an hour courtesy of a 6-speed manual 2.4-litre intercooled turbo engine. The last time you saw this, you were probably pushing it across the bedroom floor as a child. This, though, is the Dodge M80, which has a look of familiarity about it, and that could because it's now made the transition from toy box to concept vehicle. And yes, those are 20-inch wheels. Step inside and, like the Razor, there's little in the way of frills. However, the interior is still impressive thanks to its detonator yellow sheet metal panels, satin silver hard plastic covers and water-repellent seat trim. The gauges are kept simple, as too are the heating and audio systems. And powering all this is a 3.7-litre V6 engine, tuned to serve up 210 horsepower and plenty of torque. The rear of the vehicle's certainly spacey, with a 5-foot-long berth at the back, which should be room enough for all your toys, whatever they may be. While the M80 may not look that serious to some, it certainly is underneath the bodywork. A simple independent front suspension and leaf spring solid axle are there to do a job. Don't forget the slate grey plastic bumpers, round headlamps topped off by a stainless steel looking grille. And it wouldn't be complete without mega-sized performance-tuned dual exhaust pipes. So it seems the toys have finally grown up. Is this the future of Jeep? The manufacturer has been around for as long as we can remember, and this, their latest offering, the Compass, represents an all-new design outlook from the Americans. Think of Jeep and you think of vehicles taking the driver where they've not been before. Well, this one looks like taking Jeep somewhere it hasn't been before, a road-going car with an off-road feel. Jeep first started making vehicles for the military many moons ago, but this is a little, if not altogether, different machine. And that, of course, is down to its features. 2 doors, 4 seats, of which the back 2 can be folded away flat to extend the amount of space in the rear. Instrumentation-wise, the interior is fairly simple and uncluttered. A multifunctional docking station with LCD screen is on the dashboard. Indeed, all the gauges have the traditional needles and watch face look. And a compass wouldn't be a compass without, yes, you've guessed it, a compass. Other features include a grab rail should the journey get a little bumpy, while the rubber moulded floors designed to clean easily. Remember, you may be tempted to take this car on a journey, which may result in muddy feet. You can also use the roof to carry equipment, courtesy of a strong textured liner, complete with integrated tie-downs. So that's the niceties out of the way, so now it's down to business. In short, what will this baby do? The short wheelbase means, of course, quick handling reflexes. In terms of power, there's a 3.7-litre, 210 horsepower V6 engine. Something this Jeep doesn't have, though, is the trademark low-range off-road gears. Instead, you get an all-wheel drive traction should you decide to journey off the beaten track. "60 years after the original Jeep Willys comes the Jeep Willys 2. And like its forefather, it has a go-anywhere, do-anything attitude. Weighing in at exactly 3,000 pounds, it's propelled by a 1.6-litre inline 4-cylinder engine. Supercharged, of course, to allow 160 brake horsepower, while the 4-speed automatic transmission is linked with full-time 4-wheel drive and low-range modes. Want to get somewhere quickly? Then expect around 60 miles per hour in around 10 seconds. Push it a bit harder and you'll eventually reach the 90 mark, but no more. Unlike the sheet metal World War II original, this is built using carbon fibre with injection moulded plastic bodies. They weigh and cost less, however the action green look remains. We'll probably never know if the makers of the Willys would approve of its offspring, but they belong to a bygone age. Also housing a V6 engine is the Chrysler Crossfire, a concept vehicle the manufacturers claim as having an American performance car feel, complemented by European characteristics, particularly in the handling department. Therefore, a vehicle comfortable not only on the freeway, but also the twisty Mediterranean coastline. By the way, that's a one-piece carbon fibre body on an aluminium frame you're looking at, while underneath there's a 103-inch long wheelbase with an almost 60-inch long wide track at front and rear. Inside the Crossfire is what Chrysler calls the G-meter. This is an onboard vehicle data acquisition centre. In simple terms, it tells you what the car is doing by means of an LCD screen. This displays not only acceleration but also lap times and G-forces should you need to know. Comfort-wise, the 2 competition seats are adjustable, just like the pedals, while there's also space for 2 helmets. The supercharged 2.7-litre V6 engine's capable of 275 horsepower and is guided by a 5-speed manual transmission. There's a top speed of 148 miles an hour, and if you've got 5.8 seconds to spare, you can hit 60 miles an hour from a standing start. The custom independent short and long arm front and rear suspension uses coil springs placed over the shock absorbers. And what you'd expect from a classic rear-wheel drive coupe is what you get from the Crossfire, namely 19-inch wheels at the front and 21-inch at the back. In the past, Chrysler have tended to hide the wheels, not this time though, thanks to a boat tail design. One question remains unanswered though, and that is, would the vintage American rock band ZZ Top take a ride in the Crossfire? Only they could answer that one. On the shelves next spring is the Crossfire's cousin, the Pacifica. It's branded as a 2004 model despite being available a year earlier. And to add a further twist to the tale, it arrives on the market following 2 years of delays, in which it was completely redesigned. But let's not get bogged down in those figures. Instead, we'll focus our attention towards the characteristics of the Pacifica. 3 rows of seats, adjustable in the middle and back, so it can become a big load carrier if required. The interior marks a change of direction for Chrysler, a more stylish look than before, plus a navigation system smack bang in front of the steering wheel, which is exactly where you would want and would expect to find one. And not forgetting a hands-free communication system. Complication is a word that doesn't apply here. Engine-wise, the Pacifica relies on a 3.5-litre V6 with both front and all-wheel drive available. There's a total of 250 horsepower, and the 4-speed automatic gearing is designed to have a manual-style shift. Independent suspension should provide all-round performance that Chrysler hope should have the driver thinking that there aren't 5 people travelling with them, when in fact there's a full complement of passengers on board. And it doesn't stop there. Sit back and relax, comfortable in the knowledge you have side airbags to look after you, while tyre pressure is looked after by a monitoring system. And the extras keep on coming. Heated seats, not only in the front but also second rows, a power sunroof, a driver memory system, plus, for all hay fever sufferers, a pollen filter. All it would appear then that's missing from the Chrysler Pacifica is the kitchen sink. Roll on, 2004. Coming up after the break, more from Chrysler, plus a peek at Volkswagen, past and present. Welcome back, and still to come, Volkswagen, young and old. But first, a further look at what Chrysler have in store for us. Question: when is a sports car not a sports car? Answer: when it's a sports car that's just as comfortable off the road as on it. And those behind the Jeepster, in other words Chrysler, claim it can achieve both qualities. It is, though, still just a concept and may well remain one. However, one day, someone's going to produce a car that marries the power and excitement of a sports car with the will-go-anywhere nature of the many vehicles given to the industry by Jeep. And who's to say the Jeepster won't be the first? So what's it got? Well, firstly, there's electronic, independent and adjustable 4-wheel suspension. This allows the vehicle to be moved 4 inches in either direction, should you need the height for those tricky off-road obstacles, or a lower level for a more aerodynamic drive along tarmac. They're controlled by 2 switches on the console, which will give the Jeepster a maximum lift just short of 10 inches, should you want to get really serious. You want power? You've got it. The 4.7-litre 16-valve V8 engine has plenty, with an estimated 275 horsepower. Jeep's military history isn't forgotten. The instrument panel certainly has that army feel to it. That's where the past is left behind, though. On the dashboard you find a navigational system, which includes global positioning and external temperature reading. The transmission, by the way, is 4-speed automatic, with 4-wheel drive high and low range, while the dual exhaust system boasts 3-inch diameter pipes. The front seats have the 4-point belts, while the foldable rears use the conventional 3 points. Finally, let me tell you, those 19-inch wheels we saw earlier, yes, that's them, are capable of maintaining their shape on or off-road, even after a flat at speeds of up to 55 miles per hour for a distance of 50 miles. This is the Chrysler Kronos, a vehicle widely tipped as becoming the manufacturer's flagship should it ever sail into the market. At 17 feet long and 6 feet wide, it certainly has a presence on the road. And a vehicle that big needs wheels to match, hence the massive 20-inch front and 21-inch rear aluminiums, almost half of the overall height of the entire car. Wood dash panels surround the clock-face dials, and the hand-wrapped leather steering wheel and hand-sewn leather centre console and door trims give the Kronos a handmade feel. What gives it its growl, though, is the 6-litre V10 engine, capable of a steady 350 brake horsepower. It's complemented by a short, long-arm front and rear suspension. There's isolated front and rear subframes and a high-strength steel chassis. It looks powerful, and it is powerful. This has got to be the car that Batman and Robin use on their day off. Chrysler's PT Cruiser Cabriolet has evolved into a convertible. A few minor adjustments had to be made. The roof was lowered, the rear wheel arches were resculpted, and the doors were made longer. It was also given a customised look by the inclusion of body-coloured bumpers and a chromed grille. In all, the whole vehicle was lowered by 1.5 inches. Many other characteristics of the original Cruiser remain. The front-wheel drive is powered by a 16-valve 4-cylinder engine linked to a 5-speed manual gearbox and produces 140 brake horsepower. Added up, this equals a 0 to 60 in less than 10 seconds, with a top speed just short of 120. Suspension's been tuned to meet European standards. The front has a high roll centre for responsive steering, while reducing body lean around sharp corners. At the rear, coil springs support a twist beam layout. Chrysler are certainly pleased with how the original Cabriolet was received. Therefore, the next step had to be a convertible. But not just any convertible. This has the classic look associated with American vehicles of the 50s and 60s. Inside the vehicle, there's a high level of impact protection. Driver and passenger airbags at the front are supported by side airbags. You also get what you expect from a modern-day American car. Power steering, tilt-adjustable steering column, 6-speaker radio cassette CD, electric windows, plus electric heated and retractable door mirrors. The Cruise convertible is undoubtedly American. Even the PT prefix, which means personal transportation, is a typical US phrase. Whether the convertible follows the original Cruiser onto the production line is an as yet unanswered question. But, as with many of the vehicles we've shown you on this programme, only time will tell.
Now, Wolfsburg is synonymous with Volkswagen, a production facility that's the most respective home of quality motorcars in the world. Even Rolls-Royce no longer enjoys such a worldwide reputation for dependability, though they do still have very quiet clocks. The dominant European car maker, VW increasingly sets the benchmark standards by which all others are judged, and the previous incarnation of the Passat typified that precisely, and its successor is about to magnify it. Almost certain to continue its dominance in what used to be the Cortina sector of the market, Passat is a prime example of the way the Volkswagen Audi group has capitalised on the success of the best-selling motor car in the world. 20 million units and rising, it was the Beetle.
Große Bruder des Volkswagens.
Ich bin ein Berliner.
Deutschland hat einen neuen Weltmeister, den Käfer. No other car goes through so much for so little.
In wenigen Sekunden sehen Sie das erfolgreichste Auto Deutschlands.